Welcome to Our Thoughts Tonight. Join us as we chat in a mellow mood about music, philosophy, psychology, and anything else that will come to mind. Enjoy!
Welcome, everybody that's just joining us now. It's probably not going to be too populated, I'm assuming, because it's late, yeah. And we want to talk about a couple things. Yeah. It's always hard the first few minutes because we're just trying to adapt to the live stream. We were going to talk about Elon Musk, right?
Yeah,
Elon Musk Twitter situation.
OAN stuff, just random stuff going on.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, if you want to start out with Elon Musk, I haven't really been following it too much. I just remember, like, what was that, a few days ago or whatever? You know, like, I don't even check Twitter, like, at all, really. Mm-hmm. And then, but it's like pops up every once in a while. I'm like, and what was it? What did he tweet? He's like, I sent it in. We'll see what happens or something like that. Yeah, that tweet of his.
Oh, yeah. He sent his SEC filing.
Yeah. I opened it up. I was like, what the fuck's going on? And then, I mean, I think hasn't he like mentioned something like that before? He's like hinted at buying it before.
Yeah, I don't know. I know he's said all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, he said something else too about like months ago. He's like, oh yeah, he joked about buying Fortnite just to shut it down. So he's like said this kind of stuff with a lot of other products or whatever. But it seems like he's actually going forward with this, which is kind of crazy in my view. But
yeah.
I mean, not crazy. I mean, I think it's expected, but it's still crazy at the same time.
So I should say before we continue with Elon, I'm going to edit this and put it on the podcast.
Yeah.
So our thoughts tonight.
That's right. Our thoughts tonight on Inhuman Form.
Yeah. Hello, Alley Cattails. Love your late night streams.
Elongated what?
Elongated muskrat. He showed his cards. He's a capitalist and doesn't give a rat's ass what happens to anyone but himself. That's probably true, just like the rest of us, right? Yeah. But I think my take on it is kind of like the right-wing take, I guess, is what people are calling it. But it's if he does buy it out and he is actually going to implement less restrictions, and I don't know, it's kind of like conspiratorial to say like, oh, you know, algorithms kind of damper specific points of view, but I'm willing to bet that that's true, and and I think that were he to actually take it and make it more leveled, I would be all for that. I don't care who does that, as long as, like, I'm kind of a free speech absolutist. Yeah.
I just find it, like, depressing that a guy with that much money can just go in and do this kind of stuff, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I think the situation in itself is just kind of depressing.
Yeah, he literally just throws around
money.
Yeah, like, it's no joke. But the funny thing is that I'm seeing a lot of journalists from the Washington Post being like, I guess when you're a billionaire, you can just throw billions of dollars around. And it's like, what are you talking about? You know, you're owned by, what's his name? Bezos.
Right.
Somebody here had an interesting question. It is Pluto said, what are your thoughts on Metcalfe's law and the futility of shutting down any social media sites? What is Metcalfe's law?
I don't know.
Let's look it up, I guess.
And the futility of shutting down any social media. I mean, I'm assuming that, like, in the nature of social media, you just can't shut it down just because social media is integrated into the essence of the internet.
Yeah, exactly, because you'd have chat rooms or whatever, which was essentially proto.
Yeah.
But it says Metcalfe's law is a concept used in computer networks and telecommunications to represent the value of a network. Metcalfe's law states that a network's impact is the square of the number of nodes in the network. For example, if a network has 10 nodes, its inherent value is 100. I don't know what that means.
If you want to explain it in the chat in a dumbed down version, go for it.
I guess that's fair. I don't think that I don't think you can shut down social media anymore because people know how to program.
Yeah.
So they could, somebody else will just fill the void. It cannot be shut down because the function would exist. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And I agree. Twitter is a useful tool in a lot of ways. A lot of people that trade stocks use it for news and stuff. But I think, if he's going to be a free speech absolutist, why wouldn't you be for it? And it is possible. Like, billionaires are not great. That's true. But I mean, I'll take what I can get in this neoliberal, during the neoliberal assault.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I just feel like I agree that, I'm not like too well versed in Twitter, but like, yeah, I think it's a little too, like, from what I can understand, it's a little more on the restrictive side than I would like. But honestly, I don't think Elon Musk knows what he's doing. Honestly, like, I don't really think he's going to be able to do this well at all. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I'm against him doing this. Like, also, like, Twitter is like a big enough of a platform for, like, better opinions, quote unquote, to drown out other voices. Mm-hmm. But like, it doesn't he have like a bunch of stock in Twitter anyway?
He just bought, I think, like 13 or 15%.
Yeah,
so it makes him the largest shareholder. And then he found out that if he joins the board, he's not going to be able to make executive decisions, because then he has to act in the best interest of the company. And the way he wants to act might not actually be in the best interest of the company, is what all the corporates believe, or a lot of the corporates believe, which I don't think that's true. If he were to take over, I think you would see a lot more action going on there. Yeah. Because people would be interested in seeing like what all the noise is about.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I don't know. Like, he also said something recently, like I think wasn't he like, didn't he say that if it was rejected, that he would like rethink his position and being like with his stock, with his like, with what he just got in Twitter? Didn't he say some along those lines? Like he might, I think he was threatening Twitter or something. I don't know.
Probably. Yeah. I mean, what do you think is worse? Elon Musk buying out Twitter, or Donald Trump starting Truth Social, which will have probably no impact whatsoever.
Yeah, that's true. I don't know. I just think it's depressing. I just think he doesn't know what he's doing, honestly. Like, I mean, I don't know. A lot of these like really open platforms for social media, like are usually like they're open. You can do whatever you want on them. But they garner a lot of like really like just in general crazy people. Which I don't think that will happen with Twitter, because I think Twitter is just large enough for those voices to be drowned out. So it's fine. But I don't know, the people who like Elon Musk, like in general, I don't know. I think it's just kind of stupid, honestly.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, it's just
what do you think of OAN being shut down? Which I just found out about that. Too, Zach Cross is in the house. Zach Cross is in the house.
If he Twitter, people will move to the next best one. I don't know about that kind of argument. Like, maybe, I don't know. I mean, I think Twitter has a little bit of a seniority status. Like that's what happens a lot with like Twitch and like YouTube and stuff. Like, oh yeah, it's going downhill, so we're just gonna go to the next best thing. That thing never happens.
No.
Like, yeah, and there are some places like BitChute or whatever, but they're just filled with just very crazy people. Yeah. So I mean, it's unfortunate, but I think at this point we're kind of stuck with the platforms that we got, just because they've just been with us for a while.
Yeah,
it'll be really hard to move on from them.
I do want to bring it up, actually, for anyone that is watching that typically watches my channel. On Thursday, I will be interviewing Marv Waterstone, who co-authored Chomsky and Waterstone's latest book, I should say, Consequences of Capitalism. So I'll have that interview up sometime probably early next week. Not next week, but the week after, so 2 weeks from now. And that has nothing to do with this, but there's a lot of conversation related to the concentration of capital, essentially, in that book, and we'll probably end up talking about that.
Not using metaverse is the hill I'm dying.
Yeah, I don't know what's all up with the metaverse.
Yeah, I've actually been doing a tiny bit of research on stuff for work, because it's a long story. But yeah, they have this weird new metaverse platform where like you can do like, it's basically like a video game almost, and you can do like university campuses. So instead of like Zoom, you just kind of have like a game, but it's like the university. I don't know. I don't even really understand how any of this metaverse stuff works, but like they have something like that, which is kind of crazy. So it's supposed to like replace Zoom or online classes or stuff like that, which is absolutely insane. But
so we're gonna also probably do some Q&A after we talk a little bit here. So think of some questions. Yeah. Funny story about OAN. I go to this diner all the time, and it's just like the most, I can't even explain. It's like it's pretty much just a truck stop.
Yeah.
And whenever I go in there, I always get these like strange looks. They're always watching OAN on blast, like full volume. When the Supreme Court situation was going on a few weeks ago, man, I could hear the conversations next to me, and there was some racist shit.
Surprise. That's the thing with OAN too. I feel like a big part of their success is like the visuals of OAN are actually incredibly like aesthetic. It sounds weird, but like if you notice, like their stuff is like not cluttered full of information.
Mm-hmm,
They're just so simplistic in the way
it's like headlines.
Yeah, and it's like I think that actually goes a long way. Like, you know, you open like MSNBC or like Fox or whatever. You
should tell that story about your dad.
Oh,
CNN is the worst, by the way, in terms of clutter.
Oh yeah. OAN's like, I mean, that's as terrible as they are. I think that aesthetics actually helped them. What do you mean by my dad? Like how they used to watch it all the time.
Yeah, and then like one day you caught him watching, and you were just like, turn this shit off.
Oh yeah, that happened. That used to happen a lot. Like. So OAN, I mean, from what I remember, like years ago, they were actually neutral. At least like the news section, not like the talk shows. But that might have just been me not remembering correctly. But from what I remember, they were neutral-ish. But as the years went by, they got really, really biased. And then like after some time, you know, like come home to my parents' house or whatever. I guess this was like after I moved out, and I would like, you know, see OAN playing, and it's like just some absolute BS. And I was like, turn this off. And he's not even like listening to it. He's just. You know, he has it on the background because he's had it on the background for years. But meanwhile, you know, it might have started off neutral years ago, but that's changed. I forget what they were saying, but it happened multiple times.
That's so funny. Does he still watch it?
No, I think he's actually listened to me. He's like, okay, I won't put it on anymore.
What does he watch these days? Because he's not. I mean, he like is, you know.
Yeah, he's
vaccinated and everything.
Yeah, he's not a right winger at all. I mean, he just watches his Turkish videos, Turkish news sources and stuff. I mean, even back when he put on OAN, he wouldn't actually watch OAN. It would just be in the background. You know, I would like talk with him, and the OAN in the background's like something Trump, and I'd be like, turn this off. Like it's just so bad. Or like one of those protests were going on a year or two ago.
Media is not neutral ever.
It's in the nature of media.
It's never neutral.
Yeah.
But just to let you guys know, we're like the dollar store Hassan, because we're also Turks.
Yeah, like leftist Turks.
Leftist Turks. We're the dollar store version of Hassan Piker.
Yeah, my dad's Turkish. Yeah, I mean he's like a bit Americanized for the most part, and he's a leftist too. But yeah, he just put it on the background.
Turks are pretty progressive, naturally because of Ataturk.
Yeah, they're leftist, but they're also like nationalistic leftists. So they're like they're
hardcore nationalists. That's for sure.
Like lefty, not in the Rosa Luxemburg style, but think like tanky. Most Turks are like tankies. Like they wouldn't admit that.
They have that World War, like we shed some blood in World War I mentality at all points in time. No, we're not streaming from Turkey. We're in America.
Yeah. Oh, it's crazy. It's like you watch Fox News, you know, like. There'll be a few times you might actually hear something decent on Fox. Like very rarely. I mean, I would never trust it coming from Fox. Like even if someone on Fox said something good, I'd call BS and like you're just lying, dude. But with OAN, it's absolute insanity. It's like again, they still call Trump president. Yeah, they refuse to call Biden president. It's like God. Do you guys have clips of yourself?
Clips of yourself saying the N-word like the Young Turks.
Does the Young Turks?
I'm sure they do. I
don't know.
Those guys are devoid of any scruples, just like OAN. It's just they're better at masking it, or OAN is less worried about masking it because they're backed by AT&T.
I mean, I don't know. I used to watch Young Turks a lot, like years ago. They're not who they were. Like they aren't as good as they were, but I'd have to look that up.
Hassan's an edgelord. I agree.
Yeah.
I mean, I like Hassan. Like. He rarely ever says anything that I disagree with.
He's kind of emotional sometimes.
Shockingly, the media has nothing to talk about right now.
Morning Joe, actually. Yeah, it's a shame about Rachel Maddow. She didn't used to be that toxic. Yeah, a lot of like the political atmosphere changed in 2016, 2015. A lot of people like that were decent like changed. Like Rachel Maddow again used to be decent, but then she became like a war hawk basically. It's kind of a shame. I don't know, when conservatives like that, you know, like Tucker Carlson and, you know, Sean Hannity, they talk about free speech. I mean, it's completely hypocritical. And like, I don't know, it just rubs me the wrong way. Like, anti-speech is inherently in a lot of like conservative ideologies. So it's like BS on them. I mean, they're right, but at the same time, it's shady.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Again, I don't think Elon Musk knows what he's doing. I don't think he's well versed on anything with free speech. That's the thing with free speech. It's a paradox, really. I mean, that's what the whole debate really is about, is giving platform. Because at the end of the day, it is giving platform to people whose opinions are insane. That's literally the entire question. It's And I specifically do, at least for me, like this, it's specifically far right. It's not giving speech to far. I mean, to a certain extent, yeah. The broader picture is allowing far left speakers into dialogue as well, because they are also
that's what I'm.
Yeah,
really,
they are also affected.
Definitely.
But at least the debate, I think, the heart of the debate, not the whole picture, is about giving voice to far right wingers, and that's the thing. It's a paradox because the far right doesn't want free speech, but do you give free speech to people who don't want free speech? And again, that's a really hard question that I don't think Elon Musk is the guy to answer that. If he's gonna I don't know, I don't know. I don't think he's the guy to really answer that question. So I think this is just a silly move.
Yeah, I think
you only be
you have to, you can't just suppress information. You're essentially suppressing thoughts when you suppress somebody's speech. So it just exacerbates a bad situation. I think that a lot of these people are afraid of conspiratorial conversation coming from the right, and it's like that conversation is just going down. In fact, you're just unaware of it now because because it's hidden in the dark corners of wherever. So it's when you're hit by it in these strange situations like January 6th. You're like, where did that come from? I mean,
the thing is, I think having it on these platforms to a larger extent makes it more accessible. I think that's the whole problem. Like, yeah, they still exist. I mean, again, I'm in support of free speech. I just think it's dangerous. I mean, not to I'm not saying we should be like Twitter or anything, but it's a dangerous game to play because I think it does having a lot of that stuff. It's not about the whole thing, beating bad speech with speech is true. But again, it's not so clear cut because people don't always listen to just facts and information. There's a whole lot that goes on into sensationalism, all that kind of stuff. And that matters, and that's very important. And again, for example, if you see a lot of people who are out of the alt-right or whatever, they got into and they got out of it. A big part of that journey is them finding out more information. So yeah, to a certain extent, that it does affect them. But just to go down that rabbit hole and to never come back is also pretty dangerous. So I mean, again, I don't really have a answer to it. I just think it's very touchy and kind of dangerous. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think it's a clear-cut answer, at least. I don't think Elon Musk is the guy to really fix that. Yeah, no. I'm not saying we should suppress free speech. I just think it's the problems that come alongside of it have a lot more nuanced problems that should have more focus on. I don't know. I think the debate shouldn't be should we have free speech or not. The debate should be how do we deal with the consequences of free speech? Because it's tense. I don't know.
But another thing with media literacy classes in schools, it's from what angle are you going to teach that from? A lot of people are going to have a lot of problems with that because if you're having it from a liberal warmonger perspective, it's going to be difficult. Do you think populist politics will continue years, decades, or longer? I don't think that what we're seeing are populist politics in reality. I don't see that because if it was true, I don't think this is a really, either it's an evolved form that is different, but I don't think what we have is truly populist politics.
Yeah, I mean, I think you saw some actual populism with Bernie though.
Yeah, with Bernie, yeah, but I mean, you saw Bernie suppressed by the neoliberal assault, just like anything else. It's not, if it was true populism, it would have been able to break through that, but again, we're not able to.
It might suck, but it's better than censorship. Yeah, no, it's better than censorship. I just think it's really nuanced, and I think there can be an option for free speech with modifications. Maybe I don't know what that would be, but that would be ideal. Whatever that means. We're gonna talk about inflation at all this episode?
Oh yeah.
It's been the highest since the since the 70s.
There is chicken wings are more expensive because of inflation. Yeah.
Yeah, if you look at the scandals it's going against Biden now, and the ones that happened to Obama, I don't know, they're just they're nothing compared to all the scandals under Trump. I don't know.
Oh yeah.
I mean, yeah, Biden's an old geezer that probably can't see.
Yeah. I have a theory on inflation, and it's that reality, and it's that when you're in a transitory position where you have significantly high unemployment, and the unemployment starts to drop, that in between position, because of policies or just because of rising employment, inflation tends to rise. that also has a lot of impact on how politicians decide economic policies, because they also don't want to look like a bad politician because inflation is rising, but they also have to get unemployment to a certain level, because either one will make them look bad. I think because people understand inflation less, most politicians will take the bet and, act accordingly with policies so that, unemployment gets better. But in this case, I think it has nothing to do with what Biden's done in terms of unemployment dropping, and it has all to do with the vaccines and the pandemic normalizing. And, I think there's a law, I can't remember, it's something's law. I'll have to pull it up, but...
Yeah, I don't think we're in stagflation, but we are in inflation, yeah. Yeah, it is still crazy that's a phenomenon. Like, we haven't been into the States since, like, the 70s, but...
because of the unfettered neoliberal policies just cause ridiculous ups and downs so frequently that there's been really no opportunity for there to be no up or down has been long term if you pay attention. Like, it's either rising at a ridiculous level or the markets are dumping at a insane level.
I think I remember seeing some graphs that, like, I think overall it's, these boom bust cycles or whatever are crazy, but like over time it's like doing more harm than good. It's not even just that it's stagnant or it's consistent. It's just overall as time goes they're lower and lower. But I mean, super low unemployment is not good either, but don't I say like the ideal unemployment rate should be like 4 to 5%? Isn't that the ideal one? Like, because the too low unemployment rate is not too good either. I think they say it should always be around 5% or something like along those lines.
Unemployment?
Yeah,
it's at 3.2 or something right now.
From what I've heard, that's technically not good, but what is it, all-time high? For Australia. Yeah.
I don't know about Australia. I haven't looked that up, but in America, I'm talking about
Australia. Whatever happened with the fires, I never caught.
Yeah, because COVID took over.
Yeah, we just all forgot that Australia was like in hell.
I donated.
Really?
To that, yeah, because it was awful.
Aussie Insider, what's going on with what happened with the fires? I know it's 2 years late, but like 2, 3.
I don't know if you guys have seen. I don't know if you guys have seen Sean Penn lately. He's been incredibly active on CNN and such.
Oh, really?
And he had such a ridiculous tweet today. It was like something along the lines of, here, I'll have to pull it up. Oh, here we go. Let's unite to stop the war in Ukraine, which, yeah, I'm all for that. Let's unite to stop the war in Ukraine. Let's defend freedom and save lives. We ask world leaders to arm Ukraine now to stop the war. How is that?
Oh, my God.
That's just so backwards. I mean, this is something, really.
No, I think it's more ironic to say save lives, arm Ukraine now.
Yeah. It's insane.
Yeah. What happens? I want to talk about this. What happens if Trump gets reelected? I think that is so likely, honestly, at this point.
I do too, because the Democrats are so horrible.
Yeah. The only thing I'd hope for if Trump gets elected is like, because if you look at Trump's presidency, like he did a lot of bad stuff even before COVID, right? But it wasn't like COVID was like the peak, of his like the lunacy that happened, right?
Mm-hmm.
But for example, if COVID had never happened and we had finished with those 4 years, it would have been basically that was a horrible 4 years. We're still kind of standing, let's move on. But like COVID hit and it was like terrible. If he ever gets reelected, that's like the most I could hope for is like, it's going to be another crappy 4 years with like just terrible policies all around, but hopefully nothing like drastically bad, like a war, like opening up a new wars or whatever. But, I mean, who the hell knows at this point? I thought I heard someone was talking about that recently. I think I forget. Actually, that'd be really interesting. Like if all this, I don't think all this stuff would still be happening if Trump gets reelected, but like how that entire conversation would shift with Trump in office. Probably still the same stuff. Right?
Oh yeah, I mean, he was the one that initially started sending weapons to Ukraine when Obama's position was not to for years.
Yeah. And Trump is not so pro-Russian as people think.
Arming Ukraine is going to.
Something completely different.
Yeah. What are you thinking?
Nuclear war is inevitable. I don't know about that. Maybe. I don't. It's different. Like, if people compare a lot of this, like, the situation with, like, how close we're getting to, like, nuclear warfare with, like, the Cuban Missile Crisis, and, like, the whole thing with the Cuban Missile Crisis is, like, the reason why that got averted is because, like, inherently both sides didn't want war. In fact, the Soviets probably wanted a war less than we did. And we were talking with Khrushchev, and Khrushchev was pretty decent. I don't know about the word decent, but he was decent. Now with Putin, it's like it's different because I don't think he's like Khrushchev at all.
Yeah, Khrushchev was willing to de-escalate at times when they were, escalating too far, and they were afraid that, United States would actually use nukes.
Yeah.
But with Putin, I mean, he does really seem like he is no holds barred, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing with Putin is like, in a certain sense, you can see his position. You can see his position as a defensive character. But at the same time, he's also offensive. He's
aggressive at the same time.
Yeah, exactly. Like, his actions aren't justified at all. And perhaps, but the thing is, again, because he's in a defensive position, you can say that you can maybe see his offensive. He might see his own actions as more justified. And if that's the case, him being aggressive is all the more natural for him. And if that's the more natural for him, then that's crazy.
I think that's what everyone's afraid of, realistically.
Yeah. Like that thing is like Khrushchev didn't want war. Putin might want war. That's what makes all this more scary.
Yeah.
I mean, the U.S. I mean, that's the thing. Like, as far as I know, with like the USA's like missile systems and anti-nuclear warfare or whatever. Like, I think he's like it's going to be bad either way. But I think some defenses here are good enough to prevent all out fallout. But that doesn't mean anything for Russian lives, which probably be devastated. That's the thing. Like, realistically speaking, I don't think Putin would want that at all. Like, he shouldn't want that because I don't think he can get any good outcome from that at all. Unfortunately for him, the USA is like abnormally powerful, although not very effective in warfare, at least on a historical basis, the last 50 years, but arguably. But I don't know. I just don't think it's in his best interest at all. But then again, we thought him warring in Ukraine wouldn't be in his best interest. So that's what makes this also scary is like what we thought was a smart move in not invading Ukraine, he did it. So that's why all this is so much more tense.
So I'm going to answer this last question. Are you up for collabs with other creators? Yes, I would love to collaborate with Hassan Piker. So just tweet that out to him.
It's perfect. It's more Turkish socialist.
I know, right? But I am, yeah. I would love to. Go hit like on this. Go check out Our Thoughts Tonight, the podcast. I'll probably post the audio version of this. The Marv Waterstone interview will be on there next week. Subscribe if you haven't. Thanks for joining us. And that's all I have. Anything you have to say, Ashik?
Oh, that person said phenomenology is fun. Phenomenology is very fun. Let's go Husserl.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
Bye, everybody.